Hello and welcome to the channel, folks. We're back. We've got another video. We've got one with the Escudo we've already done before, and this is a first where we repeat a video. We've not done one with the Escudo with this type of tune. So recently I've just released a tune which was presented to us by a subscriber, a watcher, a viewer, and it absolutely blew my socks off about how well it drove, how well it handled around the Tokyo 600. Well, this one, folks, is for Le Mans. We've already got one. If we were to look at the past timings of the Le Mans race against what we've already previously done, the Escudo was pretty rapid. Let's double check those times. Talking about previous times, the Escudo would have completed 7 laps previously in 30 minutes and 14 seconds. So that placed third in our current league table. We have at number 1 the Mazda 3, which completed the race in 30 minutes 02.522. We have a sort of unofficial winner, which would have been the RA272, which completed 8 laps but ran out of fuel, but passed the 7th lap boundary at 29.55. So it completed its 8th lap much later, and the only reason we ran the 8th lap was because we had a car too close to us to come across the line to actually win the race, caused by weather. The other cars that are at the top there are the Supra engine swap, the RX-7 engine swap, the Sylvia, Fairlady and NSX engine swaps, and the R34 engine swap, and they are all sub 32s. The Supra is the only one. The Mazda 3 at 30.02.522 is decent, and the Supra at 30.03. So, depending on what you want, this thing is going to do 8 laps. Without doubt, it's going to do 8 laps. But it's going to do 8 laps, I think, in the fastest we've ever seen on this channel. There is the potential to take other cars, of course. But what we're talking about is simple tunes, easy tunes that don't have a lot of twiddling, and these get you to the finish quickly. So let's go and take a look at the setup and see what we've got. So this is my Le Mans tune. We're going to run racing hards. Critically, bad weather will really mess this tune up to do the time. So all of the other race times were completed in relatively ambient, relatively low rain. So if we're going to get low rain, I'm going to have to restart, and we're going to have to try and work out how it goes, because this is the problem with Le Mans. Well, it's not the problem, it's the charm of Le Mans. It has rain, and it can really mess you. It can get really bad. You have to throw your pit stops out the window. This car is going to pit more frequently than not. The target PP for the race is 700 PP, so we come in at 699.60. The suspension is absolutely the same as the Tokyo, except for one thing. And let me just run through these front to back. Body height 75/95, anti-roll bar 4.5, damping ratio 40/40, damping ratio expansion 50/50, natural frequency is 4.4. Negative camber angle, this is the only change. 1.5 at the front, 1 at the rear. Toe angle 0.10, 0.20 at the rear. Differential gear is the fully customizable. 10-10 at the front, 20/40, 10/20. And we do a 50/50 split on the torque. Downforce 700 at the rear, 200 at the front. Fully customizable ECU is running the 97. Power restrictor at 99. Transmission, all we've done is jack that along from 320 to 350. Should give us a decent run on the straight. High RPM turbo, nothing else purchased. We're just going to leave the brake balance in the centre. We're going to see how the pit strategy goes. We're going to run it on fuel map 6. Oh, I need to mention with the wheels. We're running Ray's Bulk Racing GTCs. We've set them as 18-inch. They are set to 18-inch, and then the offset is set to wide. So all being said, we are on New Year's Eve, so I'm just having a little soup song along the way. So here it is, folks. We're going to go to the track, and we are going to see what we can do. It's a 30-minute race. We're going to go for a rolling start, and Let's see how fast this thing can go. Whether that's 7 laps or 8 laps race completed, let's see. So we're going to go fuel map 6 in an attempt to run as fewer stops as possible, but it all depends on the rain. It's going to drive really well, I think. We got a little bit of a shove there off the Audi. I think it's going to be extremely... Ooh, never fun. A little bit of damage. I was hoping to slip through that gap, but it wasn't successful. Let's see how we go. We're going to try short shift as much as practically possible to try and see if we can get this to a one-stopper. Fifth gear, we're going to have to go all the way, I think. We've got a sixth gear. Don't quite go as quick. At this point, we might have to improve that on the next lap. Can't get out of the way of this traffic. So, Miss McEwen is out front, Mr. Blazon in second, Portilla third. Can't see who's in fourth, fifth and sixth at this moment in time. We are 8 seconds off the lead. We're in sixth gear at 152 and we're not accelerating. I think we exchanged up a little bit too quickly there. A restart. So we're going to run it in fuel map 6 to start with. Let's see how many laps we can get out of this. If we can make a one-stopper, that would be brilliant. But we've got to be very careful on the fuel. We would like to be short shifting as much as practically possible. But the short shifting will give us an issue with the gear not being able to get up to where it needs to be on mile an hour. So short shifting is going to save us fuel, but it's also going to provide the problem that we won't have the boost to get up through the rev range. So going to halfway roughly on the rev range at the top, so getting up to 7,500 RPM, and we're going to have to try and get the draft and see if we can utilise that. Fifth gear, we're going to pull the rev range in fifth. Sod it. Brake as late as we can. Nice short shift until we get to fifth. Then we're going to give it the full gear. Sixth gear, we're just going to see if we can get it up to somewhere reasonable, and we might have to try and latch onto cars to give us the tow down the straight. So Miss McEwen leads, Mr. Portilla in second, Mr. Blazon in third. We're into fourth, Mr. Healy in sixth, fifth, Mr. Kawakami in sixth, Mendoza in seventh, Yamanaka eighth. We are 2.5 seconds from the lead. So, as we did at Tokyo, it's absolutely ripper of a car. Halfway through the lap, we're at 3.6, 3.5, so we're roughly there on fuel. We want to make this pretty spectacular on fuel saving. But we're in the lead, just over halfway through, which was very similar to what we had at Tokyo. Tyres are looking good. We're restricted to hard tyres purely because of the PP. Short shift in second. They'll be rapid on the short shift at third. Need to get the weather radar. Oh, lots of wobble on the gear, on the steering wheel as we came through those bumps. Try and hold the car straight. Nothing on the weather radar at this time. Fourth gear through there. Excuse me. Got to really learn these chicanes to find the quickest way through. I haven't found a way to fly the chicanes yet, and got 3 laps left on the fuel, which is tip top. Short shift where we can. We're a bit slow there, but we are just trying to save that fuel. Ooh. Just let the car try to roll through there. It wouldn't turn in the gear. It's a really easy drive. No rain at all on the headlines, which is what we want. Fuel is good. Car is tittling along through 180 to 190 mile an hour. We are going quicker than we did at Tokyo with the length of gear that we've got. We're 14 seconds ahead. 6th gear, we've just managed to roll up to the next speed level, hitting 190 almost. Did it 190. We went deep. If we can get away without a penalty there. A little bit of practice at Le Mans. We haven't been here for a couple of months. Haven't been here since the latest update dropped, update 1.41. We were doing that as it landed, not realising we were going to get such an update. We haven't had an update in 2 months now. We're expecting something of an update at the end of January. Fuel is 2.4 at this time. First lap was a 3:53. We're hoping to get those lap times down around the 3:30, which would be nice, but don't know what they're actually going to be. We got a penalty there. That was for exiting that corner badly, I would suggest. To be clouding over ever so slightly. Looks to just be a little bit overcast. We're going to have a look at the weather radar, but fuel looks okay. We don't look to be in trouble with fuel at all. I'm going to put the brake balance to the front. There's no rain on the radar at all. Brake balance to the front, try and take the paint off the rears. Not driving the car, I'm driving the gauges, which is really bad. A 3:53 on that lap time, exactly the same, or exactly the same seconds as the last time, and the rain has just appeared at the bottom of the screen. See if we can put a quicker lap while we make a choice on what we're going to do with rain. A little bit of spike of rain there at the bottom. Larzan and McEwen both go to the pits. It's looking very grey. Looking very grey. We're clearly over the 50% on fuel now. Speed is ticking up. 193, 195. Not the fastest car in a straight line. It turns on a sixpence when it wants to. That rain looks to be passing us to the right. That could all change, of course. Now the question I hear you asking, it says on fuel map 6, what would it do on fuel map 1? It'll only do 2 laps on fuel map 1. That much we do know. But I could run the race again and slot in a little single fastest lap at the end if we wanted to on fuel map 1. But I suppose that's part of the process, isn't it? How quick would it do the race 1 stop as opposed to 3 stop? A little bit light on fuel, so we just need to manage that. Not really worried about the rain at this time. Doesn't look like there's any threat of much rain. Look, it's gone away. Gonna have to give up this half-second penalty here. Will that half-second penalty kill the clean race bonus? Seconds, 47 seconds ahead of Portilla. A little bit wide as we were switching for the fuel map then. 1.1 on the fuel. We're going to be good. Purely because we're going to pit at the end of this lap. Need to have an understanding of what we're going to change tyres to. Doesn't look like we need to change tyres if we can get a dry race. That will save valuable seconds. 3:48 lap time. Nothing on the rain radar at this time. Portilla follows. He's 55, almost, yeah, he's 56 seconds behind now. Mr. Kawakami in 3rd, Mendoza 4th. Mr. Healy in 5th, he's just made up 1 place, or he actually remains in the same place with the pit stops, doesn't he? Yamanaka in 6th place, Hizal in 7th, Taipei. I still don't know how to say his name. Portilla goes to the pits on 11% fuel. Braked really late there. Kawakami goes to the pits. Mendoza goes to the pits. So Our lead is going to get bigger, and there's rain coming from the left. It looks like it's coming in fairly aggressively. Everybody's going to the pits, look. Oh, actually sounds like rain at the moment. Feels like it. One minute 36 in the lead. We're pitting at the end of this lap, so we have to make a choice on the tyres. Look at that rain, it looks like it's backing away already. It looked like it was going to come and give us a good slapping about, but it's not going to. It looks like we're chasing it away. Rain keeps threatening, but it's not happening. I think we're going to change the tyres. I don't think these hards would last 8 laps. I think we are going to be very, very lucky with this rain. I'm going to change to see what fuel we've got. 0.2. Cheeky change. 1 minute 44 in the lead. Now, I'm not a true master of the Le Mans track. Whilst I have driven it, probably, well, more times than I care to think about. I don't see this as my normal grind race. Here we go, hard tyres. I'm going to take all the fuel. This doesn't pan out to be my normal grind race. Purely because the rain interferes with the process so much. It's highly probable, looking at this, you know, that if we do run a clean, dry race, there's a chance with these guys having to run another pit stop, we could lap a number of the field in this car. So here she comes into the pits. Take the tyres, a new set of hards going on, and we're going to take all the fuel. Really know how we're going to pan out for fuel in the last time, but when last time we did 8 laps in the RA272, we did run out of fuel on the 8th lap, but we ran out of fuel purely because we couldn't pit because of the timing. If we'd have pitted inside the pit, the car behind us would have won. So we had to take the 8th lap, which was just a bizarre situation of the rain that happened. Okay, we're away. The sun's coming out now, no real threat of rain. 13 minutes to go. There still could be a chance of rain. But we are now 2 minutes in the lead, which could change again if anybody else goes to the pits. It could be very encouraging. Not still 100% sure on driving this how it's driven. I think it probably could do with a just slightly different gear ratios. I appreciate it's extremely quick. These very aggressive short first, second and third gears could do with a little bit more of a tweak, I think. We're thinking about saving fuel a bit. So that's just panned out. 1 minute 23 we are ahead. Miss McEwen again takes up the lead ahead of Portilla and Blazan. Mendoza there in 5th, Kawakami 6th. Healy's dropped down to 7th. Tapia. But yeah, somebody tell me. Is 8th. So we had a 3:48 fastest lap. 3:48.449. I believe that AI are going to get back and beat us on that. I think we're a bit rapido. Don't want to hit that wall. It has a very strange waver and sort of grip, hold, release, grip, hold, release. You'll feel it when you're driving it. It sort of wanders side to side. It's really quite strange. Check on fuel, see how we're doing, just making sure we've done this properly. 2.9, so we're a little bit underneath. We have to short shift a little bit. And at 37 in the lead is lap 6. Expecting the AI to potentially pit again, sort of end of lap 6 maybe. Feels like it's greying up just a fraction. See if we're going to get some rain. Not a spot of rain on the radar. They are a long way from the pit, so looking like we could catch somebody fairly soon. There we go, let's find the braking point. We're going to go on that small one there. Minute 46 in the lead over Miss McEwen. Just stretching that braking point just a bit longer. So McEwen's gone to the pits. Portilla carries on again. He was really low on fuel, and the rain is coming in from the south. This could be really interesting. Really using the fuel. We're going to have to just economise on that a little bit. Just try and keep the revs low. Might have to lift and coast a little bit. So Blazan went to the pits as well. rain's going away again. Try and save some of this fuel as much as we can. I want to run out on that last lap. We're at the 2.0, so we've done enough to get that fuel back. We're starting lap 7. It's a 3:52. th place of the Audi TT, Mr. Kato. We're 2 minutes and 6 seconds in the lead. Fuel is good now. 5 minutes 23 seconds remaining. That tells me we're going to be starting the 8th lap with 2 minutes to go. So that'll be 7 laps on a 28. Which will be really quick. I mean, with that you can just park the car. You don't have to do those final 2 minutes. Because we're 2 minutes ahead of anybody else, so we will finish the race some however many seconds that's going to be ahead by just pulling across the line. Mr. Solis makes room for us there. That was good of him. I'm now intrigued to know what this is going to do on fuel map, and we pit every 2 laps. That would be, I want to see what its fastest lap will be. That would be quite intriguing. Portilla's gone to the pits. Really seen much of the enemy, have we, whilst we're making our way around this circuit? They've all been busily racing away behind us. Now we're just at a point where we're starting to catch them and get past them. 2 minutes 14 the lead. Seconds up against our previous fastest lap, but that would be a 3:46 maybe. There's fuel at the 1.0. People going to the pits, they're all, not them all, just the one. Fuel is on the 1.0. 47.6. 2 minutes 55 in the lead. Still drives very, very well. It's not particularly smooth, I will say that. It has quite jerky across the bumps of the circuit. It has a little few foibles under acceleration, so it picks the front wheels up, and steering is quite stiff. Under braking, it waggles a little bit. It's a little bit all over the place. There's 200 mile an hour. There it is. Low on fuel. We got 200 out of it. We've lapped up to 10th place. Then Mr. Tapeai's lost a couple of places. If we can catch some draft off to Mr. Hizal here, who has again dropped a little bit further back. 58 seconds left of the race, which will take us round to the very far bottom corner. Draft off Mr. Healy. 0.4 on the fuel. We're gonna have to definitely save a little bit. We've been pushing very hard to try and get that lap time. % fuel. Needed around 12.5, one would suggest. We're doing okay. Sixth gear is slowing us down. Came up the hill. So then, 3 minutes 19 in the lead. The clock has now passed. Fastest lap of the race is ours at 3 minutes 47.695. We could have stopped on the end of the lap there and just let the clock tick down. Fuel looks like we're now going to be pretty safe. My brain is wondering just how fast can this go on a single lap? And then would that make up for the extra 2 pit stops we're going to make? Because we only did a 1-stopper. We're on the 0.1 of fuel. Let's coast in to make sure we've got it. Don't forget, it can go to 0-0, and it's when it would click to minus 0.1 that it runs out of fuel. So we've got plenty of fuel to come across the line here as we go to the gravel. And there it is. I'm not overwhelmed. I'm still quite impressed at how good that is. I think it can be better though. 31.28 for 8 laps. Fastest lap of the race on lap 7, a 3:47.695. It's pretty decent. It gets the clean race bonus. 3-star roulette ticket for the day. 31.28 all told, which is still puts it. Where does it put it? Let me just have a look. That's 8 laps. 31.28. I've got my little notes here. That beats the NSX to 7 laps. It beats the Sylvia to 7 laps. It beats the Fairlady to 7 laps. It's a second behind the RX-7 over 7 laps. It doesn't beat the Mazda. It doesn't beat the R34. But here's the thing, right? The RA272 did 7 laps in 29.55. This did 7 laps in 28 something. And the previous time I did this ran 7 laps in 30 minutes 14 seconds. This setup is absolutely knockout. However, we're going to try this now on fuel map 1. We're going to see where it's going to go all the way. So here we go. We're going to run it on fuel map 1 this time round. Going to stop after 2 laps. Change tyres. Take the fuel. Well, we might not change tyres actually. The tyres might be good for 4. But it depends on the rain, the weather. Have to see what it turns into. We can only take intermediate tyres by the looks of it. The wet's requiring too much PP. Mustang wandering around all over the place. Don't have to save fuel with this option. You can just blast down round the outside. 200 mile an hour into 5th place. Looking for the braking marker. There it is. Hit the gas. Hit the gas? Hit the brake pedal. And into the corner. So we're in 4th place. The 3 lead cars lined up in front of us. We're going to just blow past Mr. Portillo, Mr. Blazen and Miss McEwen. GR4 cars limited by their top speed. This car carrying tremendous downforce. And braking capability. And it likes to steer all over the place. Whoa, it's a handful if you really get it on the edge. So the key thing with this race is really about the rain. We've used a lot of fuel at this point. Look, 1.4 remaining. We're just going to have to back off the gas a little bit. We really needed 1.5 at that point. There we go. Let's short shift a little bit. On the rain radar. It's a beautiful clear day. A little bit of sunshine, a little bit of cloud. Back off a little bit early just to try and get a bit of that fuel back. Seconds in the lead as we approach the end of lap 1. Try not to let the car run too far wide. We've done well to save that fuel. I'm not going to have to hold back in lap 2. It's a little bit of a handful. But it's well overpowered. Some penalties given to us there, I think, for lack of control. Running over the extremities of the track. Did alright though, we came away unscathed, I believe. 29. Going to be 30 seconds in the lead. Coming round to the midway point of lap 2. No rain on the radar. Now this will turn into a 3-stop race, which we can actually make faster in the second and third stop, because you'd only have to take 1 lap of fuel, I think. Running over those curbs gives the old rumble through the wheels. It's quite strange. Makes you think you're losing a little bit of control of the car, because it suddenly knocks you back left and right. I suppose that's what the curbs would feel like at 200 mile an hour. Okay, so we've now got rain, bottom right hand corner. Question is, what kind of rain? We need to see if we need to put inters on, or whether the racing hards would cope with it. We knew from a little bit of a run before that tyres are pretty good up to a point. I think we're going to be good on the racing hards. It's difficult to make that call. You don't know what's coming. Go with what we know. I'm not going to change. I'm going to take the fuel. Let's do our own pit work. Refill the glass. Taking a full 2 laps of the old cola drink. Oh, keeps us interesting. And all the fuel goes in. Some 56 seconds ahead, and we're away. The rain is on its way, but it's not hit us yet. If we need to, we'll stop at the end of the lap and we'll take that tyres. We'll take the fuel if we need to. Miss McEwen, Mr. Blazen have gone in behind us. 30 seconds ahead we are. When will we start to see any visible rain is the question. Will it absolutely bucket down? Will it give us a massive disadvantage? We've saved a couple of seconds by not changing tyres. Look, there's quite significant rain, just a little bit ahead there. It feels like we're okay. We can't see any rain. There's no rain on the track. Just have to see what comes. See if we can get to that rain just at the pit stop would be good. going to hit us beforehand. Question of whether we can go in the pits and change to the inters, or whether we want to run the second lap. Oh, so many options, so many thought process, so many what ifs. Here we go, we're about to enter the first band of heavier rain. To watch where we're going with this rain. I think it's potential we need to pit. I think to myself we need to. We're through that rain now. There's a hole in the rain coming from the right hand side, we can see there. Do we think we can handle this set of tyres, this rain, and try and get through to the next pit stop? That would be the way. Let's do it. Let's try and skip the pit. Let's see what we can do. Good on fuel. Going to take a little bit of a risk here, a little bit of a flyer. Did fortunately to get away with the rain in the last one. Looks like we're scooting through a band of rain that's just breaking away. Looks like we're okay here. Looks like we're okay. We're gonna get through this. Yes, we're definitely into a band of movable rain. We're doing well. Oh dear. Portilla's gone to the pits. We're 1 minute ahead. It's all happening. Seconds over the fastest lap. Fastest lap was with Mr. Portilla, 4:13.863. As they all go to the pits, we're just dry tyres are just not in favour at this moment in time, so we're just going to back off on the brakes a little bit. Just need to get to the pit stop. Really risking these tyres here. The track is just drying in front of us. We can see the rain bouncing off the circuit, but we're going to be good to make it to the pits here. Some 19 seconds ahead of the fastest lap. Just coming down again. We just need to make it back to the pits to get the intermediate tyres on if it's going to rain anymore. Actually, we need to get that hole in the rain, the end of the rain, to come to us quicker. Drive for the pits. Oh, try not to cut the corner too much. We're right on the edge here with these tyres, and it's starting to rain again. Starting to rain a little bit heavier. It looks like we're going to run down the side of this rain band. And it's just starting to rain that bit more. Here it comes. Let's get this car into the pits, get them intermediates on. We'll try and run 2 laps on inters. Or maybe one lap on Inter's come back in again and can't get it to stop. Whoa! Gonna take those intermediate tyres and we're gonna fuel. That was 2 laps. Wow. You can see how much it's raining. I'm banking on the fact it's going to take a while to dry. And these intermediate tyres are going to actually try and maintain as quick a time as we can. We're just over halfway through the race now. 14 minutes, 20 seconds remaining on the clock. We're still on for the 8 laps. Still on for the 8 laps. Let's see how these inters go. This is the first tyre change we've performed. Those hard tyres really came out of the process quite well. All the fuel going in. Let's see how these inters do. Yes, it's really quite rainy now. Rain is 3/4 up the depth gauge. It was the right call to take these tyres. Use them over the drying track. They might wear very, very quickly, especially if they spin up on the rears. I feel like they're handling like racing hard tyres. They do feel like that in the wet, which is relatively decent. Brake balances all the way to the rear, traction control on 1. We're coming to what is the end of the rain cloud, so we're in a drying phase now. This will be 2 laps on the inters. We're 2 minutes 42 ahead of the AI. Mr. Hayward, that means it looks like there's been some incidents with them. They're all bunched up. Looks like we could be catching some of these guys very soon, and there's more rain coming in the future. Look to the bottom of the screen, we can see it. Looks like we're heading towards it. Just going to be careful, the sun's coming out now. These tyres are going to start to show wear. Got to work out what's going to happen with this second bank of rain as we run through this dry area of the dry spell, is what I meant. We're still on a wet track, which is helping us. Looks like we might end up with inters again through the next process. I don't know. Lap time fastest one is still Mr. Portillo at 4:13. Mr. Hayward, who was in second place, goes to the pits. We are 3:31 ahead. We haven't caught anybody yet. Just as we're now heading into this next rain band, just have to hope that these tyres are going to be good enough to handle the heavy rain, because we don't have the option with these tyres to take the wets. We only have the inters because of the PP restriction. So here's the heavy stuff about to start, but it looks like it's dissipating in the main. We're good on fuel. Hayward's away, Mangiano's away, Kawakami's away. Have they changed tyres? It looks they've gone to IMs. It does look like it. Rain is just looking like it's getting that bit deeper. Here we are, we're up to the back of the pack. It's rapido, this car. It's effortlessly tames the miles. It really does. 20th place would still be in the pits. These guys are going steady. We have to try and make our way past. They are getting the blue flag. So we've lapped virtually everybody at this point up to second place. Second place is just charging away. Tyres are looking good. We're gonna have to stop at the end of this lap. Some 9 minutes remaining. So using intermediate tyres for this third stint as well. Oh, as well as on this third stint, they're looking to performing really, really well. We have got, we're on the 6th lap, so are we on the 6th lap? We are on the 6th lap. We're gonna have to decide what we want to do. Are we going to just going to slide through this corner? The track is really wet. Now it's going to start to dry out though, because there's the end of the rain ahead. We need the track to just start drying up a wee bit. Looks like it's going to. We're not going to get to the rainwater preference, which is great. The wet tyre preference, sorry. I'm trying to drive this so carefully. Trying to work out what lap I'm on. Oh, it's sliding. We're going to have to stop for fuel at the end of lap 6. Don't believe we need to stop for tyres. We're just going to take the 2 laps of fuel and we're going to blast for the remaining laps. It will be 2, but we could choose to sit out the 8th lap. Don't have to drive the 8th lap, but if we want to demonstrate the car's capability, I believe it has the ability to do the 8th lap very, very quickly. That's going to dry out now. We're not going to get any more rain. We've got to go in for the fuel. Here we go. We're not going to change tyres. No. We're not going to change, we're just going to take the fuel. These tyres are left. Some of these boys are going to unlap themselves now, which isn't going to be a problem. We will see them halfway around the track again, I would have thought. 5 minutes 37. And away we go, 2 laps to do. Interesting to see where we get to. That Mr. Portilla? It is, he's just managed to unlap himself. Track is really quite wet. Don't really know where to give you a rundown of next. What we're trying to do with this last lap then is to try and prove the capability of the fastest lap. We're going to be on Inter tyres in the moist. The rain is disappearing off the top of the screen. We've been through the rain. Car is fighting us. Got to try and keep the tyres as wet as we can at this moment in time, because we are going to be going to a dry track very soon, it looks like. The racing line is appearing. It is an incredibly quick car. Fastest lap of the race, a 4:13 to Portilla. We're hoping to absolutely smash that on the final lap. Don't know how well we're going to do in terms of whether that's going to be a 3:36, a 3:37, because we're on the Inter tyres and it's wet. If we pit, we lose the chance. The credentials say we're about to go to a dry track. So these tyres will make it, definitely. We go then, about to start the final lap, 1 minute 45, so this is a 28:35 finish time. There it is, 28:25 to finish 7 laps. We're on lap 8. We're now going to try and set fastest lap. The rear tyres are really starting to look ropey. Brake balances all the way to the front. We will try and run the wet line as much as we can to try and preserve those rear tyres. Tell you what though, in terms of a grind car, it's very drivable. It handles the rain really, really well. We didn't have the rain depth way up there to force us to the wets, but we can't take the wets anyway, purely because of its PP point. If we dropped a couple of PP, those wets would be available, but you'd have to drop horsepower. We're going to brake somewhere around there. Try and get the back end to hold on. We don't want it to break free. Has a little bit. We want Portilla's time. We're 9 seconds up, so that's a 4:04, but we know that's not entirely true. We know we can be much quicker than that. We've been much quicker through there in this race before that, we know, but we had to Brake just a little bit early, so 13 seconds up. We haven't got a blue lap to indicate our fastest lap, so if we're a 4:01 as our fastest lap, this should be somewhere around the 4:48. But I'm looking at that fastest out lap. That fastest out lap was a 3:39. 17 seconds up. We won't know when we cross the line. We won't know. Those rears are looking really ropey. Oof. Gonna have to lift off here. Get the car to slide into this corner. The timer has finished. 21 seconds ahead as we slide round that corner. Wowzers! Don't think we'll pick up a penalty for that. Lap time is a 2:50 so far. I don't know whether it's going to be a 3:40 or 3:40 is decent. I know of cars that do 3:30s but just don't have this drivability, and 24 seconds faster than our fastest time. Fuel is looking okay. Rear tyres are looking suspect. Inters don't half melt. We've had 4 laps out of them. They've done well. Oh, we managed to save that then. So fastest lap time is going to be a 3:45-ish maybe. A 3:46, which is on intermediates in the wet. You take some, you give some, you lose some, you win some. It's decent. I really think that's a tremendous setup. And many thanks to Ridley for passing that on to me. It is really, really good. So we got the fastest lap, a 3:46.301. And this did 8 laps in 32:11. What did we say was 8 laps to? Let me find the page. Can't find the page. There it is. 32:11. With 3 stops of 32:11. Wow. Wow. 32:11. It still beats the Silvia of the top 10. So it comes in at number 7 in the top 10 with the 32:11 on 8 laps to win the race. But you didn't have to run that last lap. So there it is, folks. That is where we go. That's what you've got. That is, again, another clean race bonus winning event. We've proved a 1-stop on fuel map 6. We've proved a 3-stop on fuel map 1 with rain. It is a tremendously good all-rounder car. I recommend it to you, and thank you, Mr. Ridley, for this setup. Really appreciated. We'll see you on the next one. All the best. Take care.